Many years ago, my next door neighbor unfortunately lost his mother. I went to pay respects. I was a young boy. Maybe I was 12, 13 tops. I'm sitting there in the house, and all of a sudden a man walks in, and I couldn't take my eyes off of him. I mean, his skin was all different colors. He was being walked, someone was pulling him by the hand, walking through the room. He had his lip, the bottom lip of his mouth was hanging beneath his chin. It was something that you want to look away from, but you can't. So I'm just sitting there like this with my mouth hanging open. And I wasn't the only one. Like, I wasn't the kid that was unaware, and everyone in the room was sitting there looking at this guy, mouths agape, unable to take their eyes off of this, train wreck of a human being. When suddenly walked up behind me a rabbi from our community. And he whispered in my ear, he said, "You'll never believe this man's story. I'll tell you after mincha," which was the worst thing he could have done for my mincha. As soon as I finished mincha, I ran over to him. I was like, "What's the story?" He says, "This fellow, unfortunately, he was a terrible burn victim. He was burned over a huge percentage of his body, very, very bad burns. They didn't know if he'd even survive. They did all sorts of transplants, did everything they needed to do in order to be able to get him just to live. He lost his eyesight. He lost his ability to have children. And then one day, he comes and knocks at my door. And he says to me, 'Rabbi, I'm going to go to the kotel. I want to pray for 40 days in a row that I should find someone and get married.' And the rabbi looks at me and he says sheepishly, 'I didn't know what to do, because as a rabbi you're always torn. Do you encourage the person to keep trying, keep going? Or maybe it's just never going to happen for someone like him. How many obstacles does he have for someone to marry him? He's with his burns, with his blindness, with his hanging. I mean, it's too much maybe to ask. So maybe giving the man false hope is not something which he should do.' I didn't know what to do. I had to make a decision. I did my best. I told him, 'Look, we never know what Hashem has planned for us in this world. Maybe getting married for you is not in the cards. Maybe you should just be thankful to Hashem that you've survived and you could find something else to do, something meaningful, something purposeful, something that will bring you simchat ha'chaim.' And the man just sat there. And he said that's not the Judaism that I grew up believing in. The Judaism that I believe in says that there's nothing that God can't do. So I'm going to go pray for it, and I'm going to get married." Well, the man looked at me, and he said, "That's not the Judaism I grew up believing in. I was taught that every time a person wants something, needs something, they can ask HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and God could do anything. I'm going to go for 40 days in a row to the kotel. I'm going to pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and God's going to give me. I'm not asking for so much. I'm not asking for something outlandish. I'm asking to be married. I'm asking to find a shidduch. I'm sure Hashem will answer me." The rabbi said, "Okay, I wish you luck." A short while later, there's a knock at my door, and the man is standing there. And he says, "Rabbi, I would like to invite you to my wedding." I didn't know what to say. I was already imagining, what kind of girl did this guy find? What's wrong with her? So I said to him, "Oh, so nice. It's so wonderful that you found somebody. What's she like?" "Wonderful, lovely, very talented, music, this, that." I said, "It's so sweet. Do you have a picture?" I'm ashamed to say it, in the back of my mind, I was wondering what she looked like. What was wrong with her? That if she had all these advantages, why would she go for someone like him? Pulls out a picture. Wonderful young lady. Nothing's wrong. She was someone who understood the purity of this man's heart, how special he was as a human being, even if his body was broken. So she wanted to be married to that. Like the Pasuk says by Hagar, that Sarah told her how lucky you are to cleave to someone as holy, as spiritual as this. Okay, Mazal Tov. A little while after that, he says, Shlomo, as another knock at the door. And this time, the man is standing there and he says, "Rabbi, I've decided I'm going to go to the Kotel, I'm going to pray for 40 days to have a child." And I'm again in the same place. Do I tell him, go for it, try, or do I tell him, look, you're so blessed already, miracle you survived, Hazaku Baruch that you found a wonderful wife, but the doctors have told you you can't have children. Why are you going to do this to yourself? In some way, maybe channeling the same thing that Elkanah says to Hannah. Is this not good enough for you? Well, he says, Shlomo, a short while after that, again, knock at the door. Mazal Tov, Rabbi. He didn't buy my story. He went to the Kotel. He prayed with all of his heart. And Hashem blessed him with a baby boy. And he was asking me to be the sandak. The rabbi says to me, and his eyes are red with tears. He says, and I felt, how could he honor me with sandakaut? How could he honor me as the rabbi to be his sandak? When he clearly had far more emunah than me. You're looking at him, and you're seeing his face, and a different color skin, and that he can't see, and then he's got this lip hanging down, and you see maybe something. But I'm telling you, what you're looking at is a tzaddik. This is one person who embodies both sides of the Ohel Sarula experience. Difficulty in finding a match. The impossibility that it seems sometimes to find a path to children. But ultimately, the koach of tefillah is real. It works. It plays out in the real world with one condition. Karov Adonai lechol kora'av lechol asher yikru'uhu be'emet. Are you calling out be'emet? In truth?